Alli and welcome to my channel. Today we have the first ever edition of the Dollar Tree DIY challenge that I'm hosting with Brittany over at Brittany Allen Crafts. For the month of August, we challenged you to make Dollar Tree DIYs that incorporate the theme of sunflowers. If you're one of the creators joining in the challenge, the playlist link is down below for you to add your videos. And if you are just here to watch, you can click that link and you can watch along and see what some of the other creators have made. I'm starting with this Harvest Blessing sign from Dollar Tree and flipping it over because I'll be working with the back. First thing I did was remove the twine that you use to hang this on the wall. And now I'm going to use some white chalk paint to paint the entire back of the sign. And I just put on a nice thick coat of this paint, and I didn't make it too perfect. I liked having a little bit of the brown showing through. Once the chalk paint was dry, I drew the shape of a sunflower and an arrow in the center of the sign. I'll speed through this because it's kind of hard to see on camera. Then I went in with some acrylic paint to paint the different shapes. So I started with brown in the center, which is going to be, of course, the middle of the flower, and then used yellow to paint on the petals. And I didn't want each of my petals to be perfectly filled in with the yellow paint. I wanted this to look a little rustic and a little hand painted, of course. Once my petals were painted, I used a black Sharpie to go over all of them. I did try using acrylic paint first, but I just didn't like how that looked. Next, I used some green acrylic paint to paint an arrow on either side of the flower, which is pointing to my theoretical sunflower fields. Next, I'm going to use some of these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree, and this is my first time using them, but they are incredible. To start, just cut out all of the letters that you need off the sheet. I'm spelling out Flower Market. Keep in mind, there's only about 2 to 3 of each letter you might need for your project, so you might need a couple more packs. All you have to do is peel off the white backing, then place the letter onto your sign or whatever you're putting them on, rub it down really good, and you'll start to notice the plastic is lifting from the letters, and then just peel that plastic off. I repeated those steps until I had the Flower Market spelled out across my whole sign. I started with Market and then Flower just so everything would look a little bit more centered. I didn't have enough of those transfer letters, so I'm using some black letter stickers to spell out Open Till Dark at the bottom of the sign. And as a finishing touch, I added a border with some brown acrylic paint. And lastly, I reattached the twine that came on the sign so that I can hang it up on the wall. Between these two DIYs, I want to tell you a little bit about Brittany and tell you to go check out her channel. Brittany has the channel Brittany Allen Crafts, and she's my co-host for this challenge, and she just has some really wonderful Dollar Tree DIYs that she posts that are super creative and has very easy to follow tutorials. So I'm encouraging you to head over to her channel, leave a comment on her challenge video, and then also hit that subscribe button. Next up, I wanted to try doing something with this Dollar Tree doormat. I rolled out some Dollar Tree craft paper and put the mat on top, then traced around it with a pencil to create my stencil. After I cut out the craft paper, I drew on the shape of a sunflower. It's sort of like a half sunflower or maybe like a 2/3 sunflower that fit best to use up the most space on the rug. After I cut it out, I brought my rug back in and placed it on top, and my idea to transfer the stencil to the mat is to use some white acrylic paint and trace around the stencil. That way you have a perfect line and know exactly where you need to cut. Now using some sharp scissors, cut out your sunflower shape. Once that's done, it's time to paint. I'm going to start by laying down all of the yellow paint first, and talk a little bit about this process. I definitely wish I would have maybe put some white spray paint over the entire mat first, or some sort of primer, because this mat really does soak up your paint. I had almost a full tube of this yellow and I used up all of it. And to sort of help with this issue, I came in with some white and orange acrylic paint and started blending that into the yellow, which was the perfect thing to do because it added some texture and dimension to each of the petals. And finally, once the petals were to my liking, I used some brown acrylic paint to paint the center of the flower, and then I let the mat dry overnight. And this last project is just a fun little decor piece. Starting with this Dollar Tree wood tray, I'm going to give it 2 coats of this folk art hunter green acrylic paint. As the tray is drying, I'm using one of these Dollar Tree mini canvases to paint on some buffalo check pattern. I started with some medium gray that I mixed up and painted 3 horizontal stripes, and then I painted 4 vertical stripes, trying to keep them as evenly spaced as I could, but I didn't want this to look perfect. I wanted it to look hand painted. Once the gray was dry, I used some black acrylic paint to fill in the check boxes to make my buffalo check come to life. Next, I took some of these wood craft cubes and glued them to all 4 corners of the canvas. Then put glue on the back of each cube and dropped it into the tray and centered it as quickly as possible before the hot glue cooled. As an extra detail, I wrapped some jute twine around each of the handles of the tray. And since this is a sunflower challenge, and I have yet to use faux flower sunflowers in any of my projects, I glued 1 Dollar Tree sunflower to the center of the canvas. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I hope you liked my 3 DIYs. Of course, if you want to see even more Dollar Tree sunflower inspiration, you can click the link for the playlist down below and check out all the other creators participating. I know that they're all gonna have some really great ideas, and I'm so excited to check them out myself. Again, don't forget to check out Brittany's channel, and if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I have some great content planned for the next couple of weeks, including my dining room makeover, which I am just thrilled to share with everyone. That video is coming out next week. Thanks once again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!